So today, day 5 of week 6 is much more of a review day where we're not going to be bringing out anything new. At the heart of what I'm teaching and what I'm going through right here, it's not so much about content that needs to be gotten through on a linear scale. It's more of like a drilling down, dialing in deeper and until things go deep to the core of who you are, which means there'll be times when we cycle back and we circle back to concepts that we taught. And so today, if you have not yet memorized what the acronym SMORP means, SMORP, I invite you to turn back to week 1, day 4 and review it. I was tempted to actually spell it out for you, but I thought, no. If you haven't yet memorized what SMORP means, go back to that, review it, because SMORP is a really helpful tool when we get messages from God to be obedient, to repent towards Him, and to really just live a life of incredible devotion to Him through prayer. So first thing I want to do is I want to invite you to review what the acronym SMORP stands for. Secondly, being anchored and having it fairly fresh in your mind what SMORP stands for, then turn to Psalm 103 and read through that. And read through Psalm 103 with a few things in mind. First of all, do it slowly, prayerfully, meditatively, asking God to show you things that He would say to you at this point in time. Secondly, if a question comes to your mind, a question that you want to ask God, write that question down. Part of a dialogue with God is bringing your questions before Him so that way you can ask and He can answer. Third, use that question as a conversation starting point. We talked in the past, a couple of weeks ago, about the nature of a conversation with God, where you write down, here's a thought that I have, here's how I think God spoke to me. Write down part of the conversation with God. Start allowing that inner voice to flow out from you in such a way where you can start to distinguish between what's your voice and what's God's voice as He speaks to us in our minds and in our hearts. And all of this is part of the building of the spiritual muscle that enables us to walk closely with God, to hear His voice on a regular basis. And we currently have a little foster baby who's living with us, and he's on the stages of learning to crawl, and you just see that the awkwardness, and it feels awkward watching him. And yet in that's part of the necessary difficulty and struggle for a toddler learning to crawl. This also is a necessary but sometimes difficult struggle for us learning to hear from God. These are the practices that God's inviting us to engage in, so hearing from Him and listening to His voice becomes all the more natural to each and every one of us. And so as we continue to practice this, I want to close out by inviting you to read Matthew 12, verses 22 through 50. Write down something that stands out to you and prayerfully hold these things before Jesus, asking Him if there's anything that He would have you see, that you would see it. God bless you and have a great day.